In December, my wife and I will celebrate 16 incredible years of marriage. It really feels like yesterday that we were even getting married. I can still remember the day that I proposed. We'd actually only known each other for 5 months, and everybody that we knew thought we were absolutely crazy. But as the saying goes, if you know, you know. It almost seems like yesterday that my 8-year-old son was born. I mean, I think about it today and I go, man, how's it been so long since he took his first steps or he even started to school? And then the organization that I lead, it's matured through the years a lot too. I remember the first facility that we began operating in, we were portable. And every weekend we would set up and we would tear down, we would move things in, move things out, hauling trailers and all the things that we did to make our organization run. It was a whole lot of work. And then when we moved into our first permanent building, it really felt good. The portable life was over. And then we worked out of that building, and then we expanded into our first separate office space that was not inside of that building. It was just so awesome to get our own space. And then over the years, we've expanded to another location in another city, and then we've opened another facility in 2021. Just so many different things happened over the last few years of my life. And as I take a moment to reminisce on some of the things personally, can you figure out the common thread? I know you're wondering, what are you talking about and why are you telling us all of this? But in both my personal and my professional life, all of these things that I just mentioned were all milestones. Think about it, proposing to my wife, getting married, having a son, him walking and going to school, and then each time that my organization expanded, all of these are milestones of my life, and they're all etched into my brain, many of them right in my heart. See, milestones are powerful. And then like transitions that we discussed in our last episode, if we're intentional with these, we can use these elements that make these moments memorable, and then we can create more meaningful experiences that resonate and have a lasting impact. So today, I want to talk about milestones and how we use them to encourage and empower those that are in your organization. So welcome to the Mind Your Business podcast, the podcast for whatever business is on your mind. Let's get started.
Well, that's excellent.
Well, thank you for joining me for another episode of the Mind Your Business podcast. If this brings value to your life, will you do me a favor? I want you to like, subscribe, share this with others, or leave a review. This helps to add so much value to as many people as I possibly can. And on the last episode of our podcast, we discussed the power of moments and how we use seasons of transition to make them powerful. So today I want to continue in this series, and we're going to discuss how to make powerful moments with milestones that are in our life. We'll again learn some powerful insights from Chip and Dan Heath and their book, The Power of Moments. I would encourage you to pick that up if you haven't yet. Now, take a moment in your own life. Think about some of the milestones that you've experienced. You may find that some of your milestones were even in seasons of transition, like we discussed last week. But milestones are common to every single one of us. Throughout all of our lives, we've all had milestones. Think about it. A Boy Scout earning his badges. Each one has its own unique requirements. There's so many things that a Boy Scout has to do in order to be decorated in all of those badges. And then as they are earned, it is a milestone that is reached, and it's one that is memorable. So the same could be said for even a karate student who's earning their different color belts as each milestone is achieved. Now, I know people who travel extensively, and they travel all over the world, and they'll collect postcards from different places that they go to celebrate a milestone achievement in their travels. Many of you, maybe growing up, you had someone send you postcards in the mail just to show you where they are traveling. Now, I know people who even put the pin on the map or a magnet on the fridge that just remembers each milestone of all the travels that they've done. You know, we do the same thing with birthdays. Think about it. We celebrate the 18th birthday. You're a legal adult. You can go and vote, right? Or maybe when you turn 21 and you want that first drink of alcohol, it signifies, again, I'm an adult. Or maybe then at decades. We'll talk about 30. Oh gosh, when you turn 30, people say, oh, you're getting old. What about 40, 50, 60, or even 100? We begin these decade mile markers that are milestones to celebrate. Fitness companies know about this too, and they understand the power of a milestone. How many times a day does your smartwatch reward you at each milestone of the steps that you've taken? Or maybe the calories that you've burned, or the rings that have been closed. You see, they do this because they understand that a milestone would encourage us to exercise more. Milestones are really powerful because they encourage us and they motivate us as we work toward our goals. Sadly, for many of us, as we lead our organizations, we miss these milestone moments. Think about it. For example, a lot of organizations operate like this. If you're a boss, maybe you've done this, or if you're an employee, you've probably experienced this. Let's say you're sitting in your office, you're in the cubicles, the boss comes in and says, our goal is to increase sales by 20% by the end of the year. And then he exits stage left. He doesn't really give you a plan. He didn't tell you a whole lot about it. He just says, look, this is our goal and this is where we're going. Now, this may be good for a goal, but it doesn't do anything to enhance the experience of the individuals who have been tasked to complete this goal. It's not very motivational. And you know that on this podcast, we believe in people and empowering people. We want to inspire with milestones in order to achieve our goals. So what if we were to approach reaching a goal another way? Let's try it with milestones instead. Let's say your goal was to learn Spanish. Many of us who are going to learn Spanish, or maybe you're playing guitar, something like that. You may say, well, I'm going to learn Spanish. That's how many of us will start thinking about a goal that we have in our life. But that's no more motivational than your boss saying we're going to increase sales by 20%. So instead, what we want to do is we want to try setting some milestones that we know will encourage us and motivate us along the way. So the goal is to learn Spanish, but now let's insert some milestones that are going to help us. Something like this. Let's say milestone number 1 is to order a meal in Spanish. Maybe that's the first milestone that you want to achieve. You want to be able to walk in and order a meal in Spanish. And then maybe milestone number 2 maybe to simply have a very simple and small conversation with the waiter at the Mexican restaurant. You want to be able to greet them. You want to be able to say thank you, or you want to say please, whatever it is. But that milestone to go, wow, I can interact and I can have simple, small conversations. Or maybe milestone number 3, you want to understand maybe the headline of a Spanish newspaper. You want to be able to see some writing in Spanish and recognize those words. That encourages you to continue. Let's say milestone number 4, you want to follow along with a TV show in Spanish. You turn on a television, maybe it's a Spanish cartoon, and you're sitting and watching, and as you listen, you're picking up on the words, and you can follow the content because you have progressed, and that's another milestone. Maybe the 5th milestone might be to read a kindergarten level book in Spanish, that you can pick it up and wow, I can actually see these words, I can recognize them, understand them, and I can even read them. And then before you know it, all of these little milestones have reached your goal to be able to have a full, normal conversation speaking to someone in Spanish. So now that we're beginning to understand the power of milestones and how they can help encourage and motivate your team or your organization, I want you to ask yourself, what are the milestones that I can intentionally create? Because milestones can be intentionally created. You can be intentional in your organization to recognize milestones, employ them in your environment to motivate all of your team. So let me help you answer that with 3 simple questions that you can ask yourself. Now, everyone's answers may be different, but all of these questions will apply to whatever context that you want to employ some milestones. First is this question: what is inherently motivating? So let's think about that through the lens of our learning to speak Spanish. That first milestone of ordering a meal in Spanish will give a natural and immediate boost of encouragement to keep making progress. Number two, you could ask what might be worth celebrating that may only take a few weeks or months to achieve. Now, this is important. So maybe having a simple conversation or recognizing words written in Spanish. That may be something that you can do quickly. You can remember hello. You can remember goodbye. You can remember thank you. Those first words that you begin to learn and you retain. See, having a quick milestone achievement, it increases your excitement for the next one. Think of it like eating a meal. You take small bites, but eventually it's all gone. These milestones are the small bites. So when I'm going to say, I'm going to learn Spanish, and here's the first milestone, those simple, quick milestone achievements are very motivating and will help you to achieve your bigger goal. Question number three, what's a hidden accomplishment that's worth surfacing and celebrating? What's a hidden accomplishment that's worth surfacing and celebrating? See, this milestone is one that might naturally go unnoticed. It may be something that happens and it's not even recognized. It could be how fluent they're speaking with our Spanish illustration here. It could be how fluent they're speaking Spanish without even thinking about every word, and they didn't even notice their progress. So at one time, that small, simple conversation, maybe it was at a slow pace because they were having to think about every word before it left their mouth. But suddenly, they're doing it fluently, and they did not even recognize it. People are often making progress, even when they don't recognize it. And if you can identify those little hidden accomplishments, it's going to encourage and it's going to motivate. So be intentional with all the people that are in your office or the people that you lead. Be intentional to look for the things that go unnoticed and then use it to motivate them. So as you do this, take these three questions. And I want you to place them in the context of your organization. So think about these three key things, put them in the context of the area that you lead, and then how can you intentionally insert these into your organization? What project or goal is your team working on right now that by inserting these milestones could encourage them and motivate them? I think if you do this, it really makes a powerful difference. So let's recap where we are so far. We know that milestones occur naturally in our lives. They're powerful, they motivate, and they encourage. We know that we have the ability to create these milestones if we understand how to employ them properly. See, we can identify these meaningful milestones with these three simple questions. So maybe you want to use milestones to enhance your organization, and I really hope that you do. So I want to give you three key areas to begin inserting these milestones into your team. So take those three questions that we asked ourselves and allow that to give you ideas of what you can do. And then ask yourself now, where can I insert these? I want to give you these three things to where you begin to use them. Number one is you insert them in the personal milestones. Business is not really about product or profit, although we often lead like it is. Business is really about people. I say it often. People produce the product, people sell the product, people service the product, people produce the profit. Business is all about people. But how often do you, as the leader, even recognize that your employees are people with personal lives? That's why these personal milestones are important. See, everyone in your organization, they have a lot going on in their lives. They have a lot of things happening, but yet we tell them that between 9 and 5, they're to leave all of that at the door. And as the boss, we can say that, but we know honestly, if you were being transparent, that doesn't really happen. But what could change in your organization if you treated people like they have personal lives? What if you acknowledged the things that are going on in their lives? What if you acknowledged milestones that were happening in their lives that matter to them? What if you were to acknowledge their birthday? We celebrate birthdays. What if you celebrated that they were getting married or they were buying a home or maybe that they were having kids? See, these milestones are actually easy because you don't even have to create them. These milestones are naturally occurring in everyone's lives. But it's extra powerful when you acknowledge them, when you insert them into the workplace. So why is it so powerful? Well, let me ask you this question. How many times has your employer really celebrated a personal milestone in your life? See, You can easily stand out from others with very little effort. At that question, many of us would say, I don't know that my manager, that my boss, or the owner has ever celebrated something that was happening in my personal life. Imagine if you valued your team enough to celebrate their personal milestones. The second one is professional milestones. Now, these are a little more common, maybe, in our atmospheres or environments of work, but the professional milestones are no less important. And honestly, as leaders, this should be as easy as breathing, or even as the old saying goes, like shooting fish in a barrel. See, if you're the leader, you should be able to easily identify the professional milestones of all the individuals that you lead. See, when you acknowledge professional milestones like work anniversaries or promotions or project completions, it lets the employee know that their contributions are valued and that they're recognized. And when you recognize these milestones, it actually provides a ton of advantages for you and for those that you lead. It helps to build a positive and healthy company culture. And again, where we work in a positive environment, it changes everything. This will help boost the morale of everyone on your team. It actually strengthens the employee's connection to the organization because it comes personal milestones and professional milestones. And think about it. We're in a marketplace right now where employees currently hate their jobs in record numbers. And this little bit of recognition, it helps increase both loyalty and retention. So if you're asking yourself, how do I slow down the turnover rate in my organization? Maybe it's from professional milestones, because people are more likely to stay committed to a company that values their growth and their success, and more importantly, recognizes these milestones. And then number 3, organizational milestones. The third milestone that you can easily insert into your organization are the organizational milestones. See, when we understand that business is really about people, it's clear that the business that you have, it is people. So whatever logo or name that you have to identify your organization, that only exists because of the people that are on the inside of it. So when there are organizational milestones, everyone in your organization should take part in the celebration. Now, organizational milestones could be a number of things. They could be anniversaries that happen within the organization. They could be product launches or hitting revenue targets. Maybe your organization is expanding. You're moving into new markets, or you're opening new locations, or maybe there's a merger or acquisition. There's so many different milestones that could be celebrated. Now, as you celebrate these, you could do it in a variety of ways. Maybe you could do it publicly, which I think is really incredibly important. Hold an awards event and then celebrate everyone that's on the team and do it in front of everyone that they work with. You could give personalized gifts or tokens of appreciation. I can remember back years ago when I was working with Apple, I actually won the Apple Care Excellence Award. And I still have that award to this day. Even though I'm not employed by Apple, it meant something to me that they recognized the hard work that I was doing each and every day. You can highlight milestones and all the people who contribute through social media. Wow, to be recognized by my company on social media. You can put it in an email that goes out to everyone or a newsletter. Just any other public form of communication would be powerful. When you include every person in celebrating the milestones of the overall organization, it communicates that we're all in this together, and that what I do as a part of this team in this organization, it actually matters. I'm telling you, it's powerful, and it can change the culture of your entire company simply with milestones. Milestones are powerful. Milestones, they spark pride. They're moments of elevation, and they call for celebration. And I firmly believe that once you employ these in your company culture, you'll see an immediate impact in the most positive way. So just like when your smartwatch tells you it's time to stand up and you do it just to close that ring, your team will be making these extra efforts just to make the milestone. Give them milestones to make and then celebrate. So what meaning milestones will you employ first? I would love to hear about what's happening in your organization. Or better yet, I would love to help add value to your team and to your organization and to you. You can use the link in the show notes to schedule a free 15-minute personal consultation with me to see how I can add value to you. So be sure to share your thoughts across all of my social media platforms. And as always, if this added value to you, will you please like, subscribe, share, leave me a review. This just helps to ensure that I can reach as many people as possible. So thanks again for being a part of the Mind Your Business podcast, the podcast for whatever business is on your mind. Now, don't miss the next episode of the podcast where we're going to talk about the very last topic in this 3-part series. We're going to talk about the moments of pain. We will learn how to leverage these moments in a positive way. So go, meet a milestone, and celebrate. And we'll see you on the next one.